If you've been in PACE for any amount of time, especially at the start of the year, you know that the amount of work can really ramp up. An amount of work that you might not feel is reasonable for the short amount of time given for it. To deal with this, you might need good organizational skills so you can effectively and efficiently complete all of your work in time for the deadline. I split the organization skills you need into two main sections: time management and workplace organization. So while researching for my presentation, I found a research paper where university students were given a class about organizational skills. They were then compared to students that were not given the class. The students who were given the class ended up performing the same as students who didn't get the class. The full article went into more depth as to why this may be, but since it was behind a paywall, I had to make my own assumptions. That's right, folks, my entire presentation is based off an assumption I made. So I wondered, how could I make this presentation a little different so that people would absorb the information better? So I thought, hey, I know me and a lot of other people like to learn and can learn easier with examples. So instead of just telling you to put your things in order, I'm going to show you what you should improve. You may be asking yourself, well, Gabriel, how did you get all these examples of unorganized people? Well, contrary to popular belief, I am not organized whatsoever. So I need this presentation just as much as you do, and this is the perfect opportunity to research it and fix it. The first improvement I made was my computer space where I work. As you can see, most of the things here are garbage, so I could easily throw them out. The next thing I would need to do is some cable management. So I put all the wires behind the table so you can't see them while you're working, but can still access them as easily as before, as their ends are still sticking on the table. I also set up the keyboard so it would work with my phone, and since the space is so clean, I can even put my binder here when I'm doing my work. For my bedside table, I needed to optimize things as much as possible. This table being a big place where I store my important things, I need to get things fast when I need them. While still in my bed, my arm can only reach the right side of the table. The right side of the table should be things that I want to grab while in bed or while going to bed. For the left side, since it has more open room away from other things, I should put things there that would be useful for me throughout the day. So applying all of these principles to my bedside table, you get this, which I would say is pretty effective at what it's supposed to be. The next thing was my soldering station. This is quite simple as I only had to push things to the corners of the shelves and clear my workspace at the top, and everything that didn't fit was thrown into the garbage, as it was originally organized so that everything would fit when I set it up. Same thing applies to the floor. I put things to the corners that should be there, and everything else would be thrown out or put in the drawers. For my drawer, I threw out all the garbage on top and proceeded to section everything off for different things I would put it on. For example, we have the certificates over here, my old piggy banks over here, and my Rubik's Cubes over here. And finally, we have the chest full of stuff when you enter the room. I decided to do the same thing here as I did for the drawer. I sectioned off different parts of it to put different things on. Like workplace organization, I'm also not very organized in this sense. Half the time I'm supposed to be doing work, I'm just sitting around, not knowing what to do. This, if you couldn't tell, is not a good thing. Therefore, I need to maximize the things I can do in the time that I do work. To maximize my efficiency, I would need to implement some strategies. For example, I'm going to use the homework board from a few weeks ago because it has a larger quantity of work on it for this example. So the first thing that you should do is complete the biggest or most urgent thing first. In this case, that would be the math homework because it is the most urgent, being due first, while also being quite large. The next thing that I would do would be the graduate expectations poster. I would do this next because even though it is not the biggest project on the list, it is still the most urgent. The next thing that I would do is the short story draft because it is also a quite large project. I would keep doing this in order from biggest project to smallest and most urgent to least urgent, balancing the two, of course. This would make my timeline look like this. This concept could and should be applied to any day with homework, and if done correctly, it could make the time you spend on homework a lot shorter. This brings me to the end of my presentation. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and thank you for listening to my presentation. And wait, that's it? That's it. That's it! Yay! And now for editing. Oh.